That was quite a week of Big Brother 27, especially when you think about how much of a dud the previous week was. Anytime Lauren is in power, you can count on a boring stretch of episodes. But we will not have to worry about that anymore, will we? Let's take a look back at the highs and lows of BB 27 Week 10. One thing is certain about Week 10. It was Morgan's week from start to finish. This may very well have been a defining chapter in her game. If she makes it to the end, this is the week that wins her the season. Morgan not only won the veto but had the nerve to use it, forcing Vince to nominate Lauren. Why Vince allowed Morgan to dictate his entire move is beyond me, especially since he spent the rest of the week sulking about it. Her influence over him is either wildly impressive or embarrassingly sad. I'm still not sure which. Weren't these two supposed to be the so-called blockbuster beasts? Both of them fell flat in this week's competition. For the first time, their comp prowess matched the overall quality of their gameplay. Terrible. Imagine the chaos if Lauren had stayed on the block instead of saving herself. That could have been a real turning point. Instead, her win only mattered for about 45 minutes before things reset back to dull. Kelley was always an odd player, but she was scrappy until the very end. Her double eviction exit came with fireworks, as she boldly called out Vince and exposed his endless deals. I love a houseguest who stirs the pot on their way out, and Kelley delivered. I did not think she was a particularly good player, but I respected the self-awareness she showed in her interview with Julie. That alone redeemed some of her game. I love a good double eviction episode, but the return of that goofy Mastermind theme was just embarrassing. It was tired weeks ago, and now it is flat out painful. Production needs to let that gimmick go. Morgan winning head of household was the perfect cap on her dominant week. Regardless of how you feel about her relationship with Vince, you cannot deny she is running this game. I worried she would be vulnerable during the double eviction, but she secured her safety once again. Her nominations were questionable, but in the end, they worked in her favor. What even was that competition? Honestly, it may have been the worst I have ever seen. And that is saying something, considering how many early season comps were played in the living room with barely any fanfare. This one looked like it was designed by someone 6-year-old. It was awkward, uninspired, and embarrassing to watch. I am not totally sure, but Morgan might have thrown that tiebreaker. Regardless, it was better for Morgan that she not win it. Keanu winning felt fitting and gave him another moment in the spotlight. His victory also guaranteed that either Lauren or Ava would be evicted, which shook up the dynamic of the week. Did Lauren complete a single coherent sentence during her interview? I do not think she did. She seems like a very sweet person, but she is not built for TV. Watching her stumble through her words was hard to sit through. And because of that, I fully expect her to be cast on the challenge at some point. The details of how Morgan convinced Vince to do this are messy, but the bottom line is that she got what she wanted. The two of them have been manipulating each other all season, so in a way, this was just another round in their ongoing tug-of-war. Still, it was Morgan's win. This was not an outright disaster, but it was not smart either. Lauren was not actively helping Vince's game, yet putting her up did not benefit him much beyond keeping Morgan happy. Each time Vince caves to her, he loses more credibility with the jury. The only silver lining is that since Lauren went out on Morgan's HOH and not his, he might still have her vote. However, the race toward the Big Brother 27 finale tightened during the 11th week as houseguests battled for control. A new head of household HOH emerged, nominations were revealed, and the Power of Veto POV became central to shifting alliances. Here's a complete recap of how the week unfolded inside the house. Keanu captured the Week 11 HOH title, giving him power at a critical stage of the game. His victory was not just a personal milestone, but also a potential turning point for the alliances inside the house. With only a handful of players left, every decision carries weight as jury members prepare to decide the ultimate winner. Once in power, Keanu wasted little time naming his nominees. His choices reflected the fragile balance between loyalty and survival. While HOH reigns can be game-defining, the outlet noted that Keanu's nominations may only truly matter if the veto competition plays out in one particular scenario. This highlighted how crucial the upcoming competition would be for all houseguests. The biggest question facing Keanu was whether to attempt a backdoor strategy. With the endgame approaching, Taking a bold shot at a major competitor could reshape the dynamics of the jury and the final weeks. However, the risk of exposing himself to retaliation loomed large, making this decision one of the most hotly debated moves of the season. As all three sources agreed, the power of veto may overshadow the HOH win itself. If the veto is used, Keanu could make a backdoor move that cements his legacy in the game. If it isn't, his reign might go down as one of survival rather than strategy. With Big Brother 27 nearing its climax, every competition and vote will ripple into the finale. However, FDR once said, "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself." Lauren Domingue would beg to differ. Coming into Big Brother 27 as perhaps the cast's biggest superfan, she took the tried-and-true strategy early on of keeping her head down, letting the bigger personalities put targets on their backs. And while she wasn't making waves socially, she proved early on to be a dark horse in the competitions. By the end of week 2, Lauren was getting a sense that two sides of the house were forming, and she was smack dab in the middle. And of course that's right when she won head of household. Lauren's time upstairs not only shone a spotlight on her, but one of her most critical flaws in the game: indecisiveness. Pushed for a renomination, she went back and forth with her choices right up until the veto ceremony. Ultimately, she chose to put up Adrian Rocha, someone who was on her side, unintentionally leading to his eviction. But while her first Ho reign lost her a number, it did fortify her relationship with her number one ally, Vince Panaro. And that loyalty was boldened even more just a few weeks later. Rachel Riley had put Vince up, with him squarely in her sights. Lauren won the veto, however, and told the former winner that she would be using it to save him. The Red Queen was seeing red, telling Lauren if she did so, she would put her ally Riley Jeffries up on the block. Despite the number of times she said she was scared in the house, Lauren made her boldest move of the game, still taking Vince off. Unfortunately, the short-term gain spelled long-term disaster for Lauren. Riley was shockingly evicted days later, with her left out of the vote. She then lost Catherine Woodman, one of her closest allies. Crucially, however, she still had Vince in the game. He made a statement in turn during the White Locust competition, as he picked Lauren to play over Morgan Pope, his other closest ally. And when Lauren won Ho next, nominating her, the gamer firmly set sights on her next target. Lauren actually wanted the veto to be used so she could have an excuse to backdoor Keanu Soto, choosing to throw the competition. Morgan took home the win, and BB Comics would prove to be Lauren's kryptonite the very next week. When Vince won his third Ho, Lauren was ecstatic. She was forming a threesome with Ava Pearl and Kelley Jorgensen. Her social game and positioning had kept her off the block to that point, the only person left not to be nominated. And surely, her number one ally would let her continue that streak. But Morgan was feeling always the bridesmaid to the bridal stylist. So she spent the entire week putting in the work on Vince, telling her Lauren would be a huge threat for her unblemished record. For hours upon hours, the two would go in circles like the hamster wheel that had strained their relationship in the first place, as Vince tried his best to keep his two number ones from going at one another. When Morgan won the veto, however, Vince felt his hand was forced. Unthinkably, feeling pressure from his judges' alliance, he puts Lauren up, leaving her in a combination of shock, devastation, and disappointment. Luckily, she quickly earned safety in the final BB Blockbuster competition, and expected Vince to keep Kelley in the game over Keanu. But she found out once again that Vinny the Lip was only giving her lip service, as he chose to take out one of her allies in the tiebreaker. Earlier in the week, when he approached Lauren about Morgan wanting to use the veto, she had said if Morgan wanted her on the block, she would have to win Ho and do it herself. Unfortunately, Lauren learned quickly to be careful what you wish for. The house was thrown immediately into a double eviction, where the gamer claimed her first Ho of the season. Lauren's time off the block lasted all of 15 minutes, as she got put up immediately next to Keanu. And when Keanu won the veto, the house easily said bye to the Bayou baddie. Now in the jury house, Lauren talks with Parade about the emotional roller coaster of Vince putting her up, how she views their relationship now, and what led to so much indecision during her Ho reigns. However, it's wild to think we're only a week and a half away from the finale of Big Brother 27. Perhaps that's because we still have a staggering 7 people left in the house. But the Mastermind is taking care of that numbers issue, unleashing a double eviction into the game. Over the course of 2 hours, an entire round of Big Brother played out, from the final blockbuster through a new set of nominees, veto, and an eviction. Kelley came into the house with one goal: to instigate. One of the biggest wild cards of the season, people found her behavior strange and off-putting. While that would ordinarily make her an easy nomination, Kelley often helped do the host job for them, volunteering for the block 3 times during her time in the house. That confidence came from her dominance in the BB Blockbuster competition, as she netted a record 3 wins, all of which she needed to survive. Her first win came courtesy of Vince, who she locked in as her number 1 early on. Only a couple of weeks later, though, her best ally turned into her biggest enemy, as he continued to betray her and leave her in the dark. And the final backstab was the lethal one, as he broke the tie to give her the boot. But Kelley was ready to have the last laugh, instigating one last time by calling out all of her alliances with Vince.